Hello and welcome back to Brickfields for the second game of our double header here from Plymouth. I'm Kath Brazier, and what a game that was between the Royal Navy men and Royal Air Force men. Now it's the turn of the women. It was a narrow victory for the ladies in light blue last year, again in atrocious conditions. So let's remind ourselves of what happened.
Acres of space to the right for the RAF, if they can put it through their hands. Graham with a dink over the top, out wide, it might fall nicely here for Filippo, and it's in for the try. Well, what a start from the RAF. Another drive this time. Again Shaw, trying to suck in these RAF defenders, but it is finally a try for the Navy. Well, Graham looking for the space into Filippo and into the hands of Greasley. Greasley charging for the line for the RAF, and she will not be stopped. And that is the try that levels it at the start of the second half. Can they draw the final defender? Greasley streaking away for her hat-trick here at Brickfields. And what a way to do it.
The Royal Navy women are going from strength to strength, and this year they have a new coach in Sarah Jenkins, who has no doubt pumped new energy into her side.
So my biggest vision is to close the gap between all three teams, and I think last year we slowly started to do that against the RAF, and of course scored a try at Twickenham, and I think going forward that we could probably close that gap even further with the RAF, if not take the win, and which is what we all want really. And then with going into Twickenham, is to have that belief, is to the girls to have that belief that we actually can match the girls. It's just the sense of occasion sometimes overtakes things, but hopefully that gap can close, and over years and years that we overtake.
And in regards to being a dual-coded player, what challenges does that bring, especially when you consider you got your job in the military as well?
Asking for time off. It is difficult. It's a big commitment. Union takes up a massive part of the year, and then only got a few months downtime, and then it's straight into the league season. But I've always been really fortunate. I've always had really good support, get me off at the right time when I've needed it.
I'm really excited for it. We were so close last year as well. We've come on leaps and bounds, knowing how the RAF play from last year as well. I think we could definitely use that in our advantage.
It's your first into services under Jenkins over there. How has she been since she took on the role as head coach?
Jenkins is Navy Rugby. She's basically done everything. It's great. Sometimes she shouts so loud and it's very Welsh and we can't understand what she's saying, but everyone's bought into every word that she says. And she is just the passion that the team brings to every game.
Now, the Royal Air Force women may be without a couple of their international stars, but they will always back themselves to perform when it matters.
there's just a real sense of calm in camp at the moment. Like we're really switched on, and I think we're really composed. And I feel like, I say, very quietly confident, should we say. So we've not really been focused on outside factors, whether it's Navy, whether it's the Army that we're playing. Our full focus has just been on us as a team. And that's what I said, like, I think there's a real sense of calm we're in a very good place going into the fixture at the weekend.
We have to say that the championship is a championship now, because I think the Navy are really stepping up and they're developing. So it's three big games, which is what we want, which is all the service want. But we're really excited about where we've come from as a group. Quite a few new players, but we over the last couple of years we've blooded 8 new caps in 2 seasons running, and now those players know what it's about and are excited about coming back and putting on a good show. Just as I think the Navy are underrated, I think our forwards are underrated. Our backs are brilliant, and if we can get the ball with the space and go forward, then it'll be a good day for us, I think. But it all comes down to the forwards, and they're under no illusion that the game is on them, but they've relished it. I've worked hard, and we've trained hard and we've trained well. So yeah, if we could, same with any rugby team, if the forwards can win the quality ball, the backs will do the business. So yeah, it's exciting, and we've worked hard for it.
I think what is very, very exciting with the prep that we've had is we've got some young players that we are developing coming through, and obviously Chelsea are still here with us, and as we mentioned before, we've got Daisy and Karis who've been able to bring on those kind of younger players that we are developing. And what's really exciting for them is they haven't experienced that kind of IS, the whole kind of occasion, which is probably quite nice for them. So it's kind of a new experience, but also we've got full confidence in them that they're going to add value as well. So yeah, very exciting.
That's enough from me. It's time for some more inter-services rugby action, and I'm delighted to say that BFBS's John Knighton is joined by Charlie Maxwell.
Hey, thanks very much indeed, Kath. And I'll tell you what, back here at Brickfields for part 2 of the Inter-Services Rugby Extravaganza in South Wales, we're kind of out of breath, really, having seen that magnificent game between the Navy and the RAF, which ended 25-24. And of course, if the men's match is anything to go by, we are in for an absolute fest this afternoon in the next 80 minutes in this women's game. So a very warm welcome to you wherever you're watching today on Forces News YouTube, BFBS around the world, and our, of course, Royal Navy ships. And for the first time today on Rugby Pass TV, remember to join our social media chat, and Kath, who is sat behind me here, will give you a mention. We'd love to know where you're watching us for this game, just as we did for the men's game a bit earlier. Well, it's a big day, of course, for all the women players due to come out on the pitch in just the next few moments' time. Navy head coach Jenkins hoping it'll be the launch of a new era for them in the 20 years of inter-services rugby. The Navy, of course, have yet to win an inter-services clash, but they are improving year on year. So will this be their first win today? For the RAF, John Wilding has prepared his players very well indeed, and he says if the forward battle is anything to go by, and he can win that, then his backs will be unstoppable. Well, there you go. That was a comment from John Wilding, who's stood just away to our right, actually, who's watching from our vantage point up here in the main stand here at Brickfields. Well, let's take a look at the lineup, shall we? We'll start with the RAF. And, well, without, of course, internationals today, Amy Cockayne and her international, she got a red card last week playing for England. And Sarah Bonner, who will be having surgery next week on that injured hand of hers. Sarah, if you're watching right now, we wish you all the very best with that. But Caris Williams-Morris adds massive class and experience to an already experienced lineup. No Chelsea Greasley today. She scored a hat-trick, of course, in this game last year. And she's been selected for the Welsh Rugby League squad this weekend. And there's no Charlie Murray either. But John Wilding has plenty of class in that team, led by Lucy Nye and backed up, of course, by vice-captain Sarah Graham. So a really big side for the RAF today. As far as the Royal Navy are concerned, well, they have a real opportunity today to show what they can do, don't they? Rose Dixon leading the team. And we know that she is so determined and so committed, of course, to their team. Front row, Rosie Staples, Bex Addis, Lucy Honeybell They have a massive part to play today. And Sam Alderson, absolutely massive day for her as well. All bar one member of the 23 for the Royal Navy team are all experienced players in inter-services rugby. Only Freya Moore, who's only 20 years old, she's on the bench today, and she's the only debutant for the Royal Navy team. And must give a mention to the Army women, who have just had a terrific win themselves, actually, beating the Welsh under-20 side by 22 points to 17. And they are all watching in the mess. So good afternoon to you, ladies. I'm sure you're going to have plenty to say. And talking of people who we're hoping to have plenty to say this today, it is a great pleasure to welcome Lieutenant Colonel Charlie Maxwell, who's alongside me. Former director, of course, of rugby. You know all about these matches, Charlie. It's brilliant to have you alongside. And, you know, I know there's a lot of people who are really rooting for you at the moment for obvious reasons. But a game I know that you're looking forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, John. That's a great welcome. And yeah, really excited for today. Conditions are so much better than last year and should allow us to actually have a real demonstration of women's rugby in the services.
Absolutely. Just to let you know, the officials who will be out there wearing their red, and we're hoping to actually hear their comments coming through when the match starts, so we can actually tell you a little bit more about the decisions that are being made on the pitch. We've got Matt Ray. Matt Ray is refereeing today with Rob Hitch and Jay Chisenga are the two touch judges, assistant referees. They're looking after things. So just the team's now lining up to have their pictures taken, and just going through their lineup now with Daisy Fahy wearing the number 15. Big job for her this afternoon. Charlie as well at fullback. In fact, all the players have got really big roles, haven't they, when you think about it? Just looking down the list of all the players.
Yeah, and there's nothing like pulling on a representative shirt for whatever service that you are part of. And I know this means so much to all of the players on the pitch. I was chatting with John Wilding earlier, who reminded me that the international players last year actually gave up representative caps in order to play for their service, and that is a clear demonstration of how much it actually means to service players. It really is an honour to wear your service shirt.
It is. I think you're talking about one particular player in the Navy side, aren't you, as well, and that's Caris Williams-Morris. And Caris, of course, was one of the nominees for the UCAS Sportswoman of the Year, which we had on Tuesday. She was the RAF Sportswoman of the Year, and that was certainly mentioned. You know, I mean, that dedication is fantastic. And I mean, I think it says an awful lot, doesn't it, about all these women players now, how seriously that they're taking this competition. We're 20 years into the inter-services. It's quite amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, I have to say, I think I played in the first game, so thanks for the reminder of my age there.
No, I haven't. No, you were only 15, weren't you, when you played?
But I know that even at the beginning we fought so hard to actually get the inter-services competition in place, and to be here 20 years on and seeing the level that's now played at is absolutely amazing. It's testament to everyone that's been involved in bringing the game forward.
No, it really is. Well, we're standing by. Obviously, the presentations are just being made now to the VIPs who are here today, and they're obviously most welcome, who are keeping things very much ticking over, just being introduced to all the players. And Fleet Commander Admiral Andrew Burns with Air Marshal Half-Smith and Mr. Gary McKay, who is the MD of Roden Schwartz, who are the main match sponsors here today, and they'll obviously be presenting the trophy. There is actually a trophy, isn't there, I think, for the women's competition. I'm not quite sure what it's called. We were trying to find out later, but and that's rather nice, actually, that all the individual games, Charlie, do have they do have a trophy at the end of it. So it's not just about the inter-services, it's about on the day too, and that's so
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the national anthem.
Yeah, sorry, John, for not replying then, but clearly waiting on the anthem. So, yeah, there is a trophy for each game, and I have to say, I'm afraid I don't know the trophy for this one, but
we will find out.
Absolutely, we'll find out. One of the later ones is actually in honour of a female pilot that was honoured in recent operations, so that's the RAF Army trophy now. But, yeah.
Well, I think having an individual trophy for all these competitions is really excellent. So we're just about ready to get underway, aren't we? And it's been a beautiful day here in the southwest, as we sort of hinted at the beginning. Such a contrast in the weather conditions here, and it does make for better rugby, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I know both teams, so having chatted with the coaches beforehand, I know both teams are actually looking to play expansive rugby today. So it's going to be interesting whether they both actually get off to a flying start that they're after.
Well, it's the Royal Navy who won the toss. They're going to kick us off, and they're kicking from right to left here at Brickfields with Sam Alderson on the ball at the moment. So let's keep our fingers crossed for a cracking game of women's rugby today. They've got a lot to live up to be honest, after the excitement that we saw in that first game. Straight away the Air Force bringing it forward. Annie Forbes getting an early touch for her. Nicely chopped forward by Sam Alderson again, who's already making her mark at the beginning of this game. Driving forward though, Kat Robinson. A lot of experience in both sides, Charlie.
I was about to say, Kat Robinson actually is one of the key individuals to name today, that she's getting close to Michelle Crowler's record for caps. So Michelle Crowler at the moment has 20 caps for the RAF and is the most capped player for the women.
And she's got 16, hasn't she, I think? Is it 16?
I think it's 18, I'll check in a sec.
18,
but she's getting pretty close. So John was saying that to beat Michelle, she needs to play next season, but she's up there.
Well, the way these young ladies keep themselves fit and conditioned, there's no reason at all. I mean, there's some 35-year-olds taking to the field here today. No, that's no age at all, Charlie, is it, these days?
No, absolutely. I won't say what age I retired at.
Says
but
I,
no,
who is 62.
They've got a few more to push, let's face it. And, as you say, fitness levels and hopefully injury-free.
Rose Dixon, what a collect from her. Straight away, Rebecca De Filippo, actually, that is. Sorry, I'm getting her and Rose mixed up. But Rebecca, again, another experienced player for the Navy, but made plenty of ground there for the Navy. Early tussles going on, but it's the Navy who have it. Ball goes wide to Lucy Honeybell. Navy going from right to left here. There's Rose Dixon again. Such an important player she's going to be for the Navy today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great tackle.
Someone that absolutely demonstrates leadership by the follow me method. Ultimately, a great player.
Another important player for the Navy there is Jess Bryan. Good to see a lot of people has stuck around for this game today.
Agree. I think, again, the weather probably helps there, but it's a good crowd so far, and hopefully a few more will come out now the game started.
Interesting point, actually, Charlie, really, about is it an advantage to be first or second in a game like this, on an afternoon like this? Obviously, the women's match was first off last time, and at Twickenham, the Army-Navy game is now the second match as far as the women are concerned. Is it an advantage or is it I don't know if it's an advantage or disadvantage, really. You could argue either way, I suppose.
I know there's a lot of discussion either way. My opinion is when they're so close together like these kickoffs, actually it works much better for the crowd. The long gap between two games doesn't work for the crowd. So on a pitch as this today, I'm not sure it really matters, if I'm honest, John. I think coming second, the crowd are here. Let's hope they stay for the end of the women's game. That's the real clincher.
Collected by the scrum half then, Newton. A real tussle going on right in the centre of the field. 0-0. We've been playing, 3.5 minutes now here at Brickfields. Navy still trying to find their way through. Here's Rowan Sinclair.
So far, though, a relatively even game, which is interesting.
It is very even. We've not seen the open play yet that maybe we were expecting. Tyler Lewis, ball goes out now wide. And that was what John Wilding was saying. There's a chance for the RAF here to open the scoring. And who is on the end of this? It's none other than Caris Williams-Morris. And she is over for the first try of this match. And we've played just 4 minutes. Caris Williams-Morris, absolutely electric pace.
Yeah, really created in the midfield where that miss pass was given, and just to get the ball out wide, and expansive rugby as we were promised by John Wilding. It's a great try by the RAF.
So Caris Williams-Morris stakes her claim already for a try for the RAF, and it was a really well-worked try, wasn't it? You could just see, that John Wilding was saying if he can free his backs, then they have got such pace.
Yeah, agreed. It's all in the back row, I think. If we can get that fast ball out for the RAF, then their backs have got the power to absolutely run that in all day today.
So we haven't had to wait too long then for the opening score in this match. Conversion attempt then coming through for Sarah Graham, the vice-captain. Had quite a long chat with her on Thursday up at Henlow where they were training, and so excited about playing here today. And has that got the legs? It hasn't. I think it was just wide, wasn't it, of the post there? So
yeah,
it remains 5-0 to the Air Force, but they've certainly set a marker already, Charlie.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I say, it's all in that back row if the RAF continue to get the quick ball. So let's hope the Navy step up and actually give the RAF a game in the middle of the field.
Well, it's already clear that's what they're going to have to do. A battle of the forwards. As Sam Alderson gets underway once more. Great offload there to put Caris through for the try. And they have it once more. Their inspirational captain and scrum half, Lucy Nye, has it again. Charge through, but that's going to be a penalty to the Air Force. Offside.
Not rolling away, I think, there. Yeah.
We don't have our comms with the referee, unfortunately, so I'm going to have to rely on your expertise to pick some of these things up, Charlie.
Oh dear.
Well, it was definitely going to be oh dear on my part, I think.
I've done a little bit of homework with the Army this week, actually, on the latest rules for this season. Sorry, not rules, laws. Laws for this season. So, yeah, and interestingly, anyone watching at home, so we're playing community level rugby, so in terms of the tackle height, etc. So just as the game starts, kicking off today, the laws we're actually playing here.
Well, please let us know where you're watching, because we'd love to hear from you. Kath is standing by to read out some of the messages that you might be sending through. We know we've had messages from all over the world today from people watching the games, and that's brilliant to know. But here come the Navy with Sam Alderson again, driving through, trying to make some space here. Laker Swan.
Yeah, and chatting to the two captains before the game, I know that Lucy Nye has asked me to do a shout-out for Air Mobility Wing, who were crucial in releasing Yasmin and Daisy to play today. And I believe that the unit are also supporting from afar. So thank you very much for the release of those players. They'll add a lot of value today.
Well, I think it's great of commanding officers and units to free people up to play. And this is what it's all about. It means so much. And when they're out on the pitch here, it means so much to everyone, doesn't it, to be representing their service. There is nothing better than this.
I agree, and I know Mal mentioned during the men's game, this is secondary duty for everyone involved. And as the services do get busier operationally and inevitably smaller, unfortunately, it's vitally important that players and staff still get released to support. It does mean so much to everyone involved. And whilst I've mentioned the RAF, I've also been asked by Rose to mention the Navy. So HMS Dauntless, who have released Cheryl Goodwins, and HMS Scott, who've released Sam Alderson. Again, two critical players that will really add value to this fixture.
Well, already Sam Alderson then with that penalty there.
Just a crowd notification, could the owner of a black Ford registration...
There's plenty of space there for the Navy. Maybe they can build something here from this. Rebecca Addis will take the line out. Just getting an instruction from Lucy Honeybell there. What can the Navy do? 5-0 down in this inter-services fixture. Well collected by Mealy.
Yeah, good line out there from the Navy.
And they've got the possibility now of a drive. Can they make some ground here? Put the Air Force under the pressure for the first time. This is the first time they've really had any ball inside the opposition half, and they're going well with the drive so far. Showing real strength here, the Navy fours. That'll give them some real heart. They still have the ball. And it comes now out to them. There's the skipper. Ball lost, but the Navy still have the possession. That's great work from Jasmine Abel. Just 20 years old, the young fullback. Big responsibility for her today, especially if there's any chances of maybe some kicking duties. But this is good play from the Navy. Great tackle there on Lucy Honeybell. 10 caps for the Navy so far. Just taking her time to get up. The play continues. Great challenge there from the RAF's Annie Forbes. But still good possession, good phases of possession here for the Navy. RAF having to defend. Just over 10 minutes played in this inter-services match. Our second game here at Brickfields this afternoon. Navy trailing by 5 points to 0. But this is several phases of play they've had now. It'll give them some confidence, won't it, Charlie?
Yeah, it really will. And as we were saying earlier, the back row there really tussling. And actually, the Navy, I would estimate that at 7 or 8 phases of play, and still Navy ball, which is strong.
Yeah, they have the line out again. Just some more instructions coming over. In fact, it's actually
In fact, my apologies, RAF ball.
It is an RAF ball.
Yeah.
And this is Louise Langdon wearing number 16, but she is the hooker for them today. Well collected, brilliantly collected by Kat Robinson. Mentioned her already, and here comes Annie Forbes driving. RAF looking very dangerous when they have that ball. Goes wide into Sarah Graham, tackled Lucy Nye. Here's the fullback Daisy Fahy. And it's great phases of play for the Air Force, and that very quickly they've made the ground that they really wanted to relieve the pressure right on the 22 now then for this line out. Louise Langdon will take it. And very quickly, Charlie, they've turned defence into attack.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a quick mention to the Navy defence there that actually did hang in. The RAF had quick movement and kept creating the overlap, but actually the Navy did push across. But it's interesting whether they can keep that going for the whole of the game. I know Sarah Jenkins, or Jenks, the head coach for the Navy, was talking through. They've had a very good run-up into this game and a very good training camp. And so hopefully that fitness will start to show through today for the Navy. But absolutely the free-flowing rugby from the RAF there, the support line.
Yeah, they're having to defend now, but that was a crossover, I think, wasn't it? And it will be a penalty to the Air Force. Presumably, I think, was it for offside? I'm just looking at the...
Yeah, it was offside.
Referee Matt Ray making it very clear. And that's interesting. They're going to go for the corner here.
Yeah, demonstration of how much belief they've got in their forwards by the looks of things.
Yeah, Sarah Graham, the fly half and centre, based at High Wycombe. 2 RAF caps so far. Training officer there with 2 group. And I say vice captain had a good long chat with her on Thursday, and they're so excited really about what's to come in this inter-services championship. Obviously the Army will be watching. I know they're watching in their mess at the moment, and will be making lots of notes, I'm sure. But to the drive now on for the Air Force.
Another strong line out as well, John, there. So far I've only seen back ball at line out, and they've all been successful.
They're very close to the line. Navy having to really defend now. Ball goes out wide. Great opportunity, and they got the overlap, and they've got the second try. That was Rebecca De Filippo going in for the Air Force for their second try, puts them 10-0 in front. Just 14 minutes gone.
Yeah.
10-0, and surely that's going to be another 2 points as well for Sarah Graham. She will take the kicks here, but you could see that one coming, couldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. As I mentioned, it's a strong demonstration of the RAF belief in their forwards to actually go for that line, and a clear demonstration of how they believe they're going to win this game. But great movement between the forwards and the backs. Fantastic try.
Yeah, I'm just seeing as that goes over. So 10-0 becomes 12-0. Very quickly, let's bring Kath in, shall we? Are you ready in for a quick few messages that we've been getting, Kath, before we start the second?
There's a real family feel to Facebook and YouTube today. Jeremy Tadman's just got in touch, and the reason that name sticks out for me, he's supporting Emma at number 6, RAF, his daughter, and the family in Devon, and he says, come on the light blues. Now, Emma Tadman, or Tadders as she knows, also competes in RAF telemark, and that's a really growing sport within the military for the women as well. So that's one that stuck out for me, but we've got lots of other family watching. Lawrence Langton, good luck to the RAF, and my daughter Lou Langton from sunny Lincolnshire. Felix says he's watching from Melbourne. It's 1 a.m. there, so that's dedication for you.
Absolutely.
And shout out to the referee from his family at home watching him as well. So some recognition for the ref. We love that.
Absolutely, very important as well. Without our officials, where would we be in any of these sports, but certainly in rugby here as well.
And one extra word for your wonderful co-commentator, John. William Edward Callahan, watching from Gosport, said Charlie acing the commentary. Don't know if he's familiar to you, Charlie, but there you go.
Yeah, he's also known as Billy the Beefeater. So yeah, thank you, Bill. That's kind of you. Thank you.
It's so in here, isn't it? It really is so in, but that's fantastic. And thanks for those messages. Keep them all coming in for us, because we love to know where you are and where you're watching, and maybe who you're supporting today, because obviously not everybody can get down to watch the games. But it's the Navy who collect it, and a chance for them to maybe make some ground into the halfway line. But it's an uphill battle already for the senior service here, who of course have never won an inter-services fixture right down the history of this, and so desperate to get that first win under their belt. But it's knocked on there. Referee allows play to go on. Sam Alderson that was, and they will get the scrum. But yeah, the scrum now is coming their way. 12-0 remains the score. And that's be virtually right on the halfway line. That's the Air Force with a put-in, and it'll of course be their captain Lucy Nye who will be doing it. 8 international caps, of course, Lucy has. Leicester Tigers player, so therefore she's a big favourite of mine.
Well, and she's an old Wasp player as well, so she's a big favourite of mine as well. So yeah. But, I can't fail to mention Wasps as their, every opportunity.
Well, I'm sure Amy Cocaine's watching today. Good afternoon to you, Amy. So sad that you can't be here with us today. And,
strong scrum there from the Navy.
Great play from Rose Dixon. Spreads the ball out wide then. Here's Parnaby. Still going is Josie Parnaby. What can the Navy do here? Just got to get some continuity in their play, not losing the ball. But the referee has given a penalty, and there is a player down after that little challenge. Difficult to see who it is. It's certainly one of the Navy players. They'll take a chance of a quick stop, and actually, it looks to me a bit like Rose Dixon, the captain, who's down. No, it's actually Lucy Honeybell who's down.
Today's charities at Royal Navy charity of the Royal Air Force Benevolent Fund. To donate, scan the QR codes that will come up regularly on the big screen. Thank you for giving generously.
It's a shame, actually, for the break in play, because Navy had their tails up then after a really strong turnover in the scrum. So that's interesting to see.
Well, you do get the feeling that they do need the next score, don't they, really? Because otherwise they'll just see the match, running away from them.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, on the field, the game is actually quite equal at the moment. So that scoreline's not necessarily reflective of the game. And I take nothing from the RAF. The 2 tries have been well worked and great tries. But actually, the flow of the game has actually been relatively neutral. So, yeah, it's a shame the scoreline is what it is for now. And I hope the Navy, keep fighting, as you say, and do need the next score.
Yeah, well, it looks like Rose Dixon just rallying the troops. I'll ask you for a comment on that great win for the Army today against the Welsh under-20s. It was, I know you were keeping a close eye on the text comment, but you'd be thrilled with that result for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to put a big shout out because my partner Max has come down with me today to help me here, but it's her that's been keeping an eye out on the Army score and sort of feeding me the information. But yeah, as you can imagine, I'm really proud of the Army girls, and I hope that they are celebrating in style, but clearly preparing for their own inter-service fixture starting on the 4th of May.
Absolutely.
But yeah, big shout out to the Army girls and congratulations.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people turning up at Twickenham in Star Wars costumes that day.
I am sure, clearly with the Force with them.
Anyway, what can the Navy do here? Just a little bit of a knock forward there, unfortunately, for them.
Yeah, and it's still just that final pass at the moment, isn't it?
Just letting them down, isn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately. As I was saying, Jenks was really pleased with the support she's had from Navy Rugby this year and the time that the girls have had in camp to train. It's that skill level that hopefully, if that continues and the support and the time the players get off to train, then skill levels will improve. And ultimately, it's not just during services training, it's players actually going and playing for civilian teams, which is, and I hate to say it, but maybe the difference between the 2 teams today is actually that level of commitment to civilian rugby, which they then bring back to service rugby and drive our game forward.
Well, that break in play once more for another injury, and this time it looks like it's just a bit of treatment going on. We'll do a stop. Any more messages, Kath? Well, we've got a chance to mention a few more people.
I'll tell you what, there's one hot off the press, which Max, who's doing everyone's job for them today, which is brilliant. She's just shown me a message from Mark Hope. He's in hospice with his dad at the moment, and they're watching the game, but he wants to say hello to Matty Hope and his boys. He wanted Charlie to say it, but I'm just doing it for you because it's written down in front of me, Charlie. So, yeah, message for you, Mark, and I hope that, we send all our best wishes to you and all of your family. That's all I've got for you now at the minute, John.
Keep those messages coming. We love to hear from you wherever you are. Yeah, Lucy and I with a put in then for the scrum.
So there's a quick backstory on Mark Hope. Individually, him and I actually served out in Cyprus together, but also his connection to RAF Rugby. So he has also been a team manager for the RAF women in previous seasons. So a massive hug to you and your family, Mark, and thank you for the message.
A disappointing knock on there by Jasmine Abel. The Royal Navy fullback has really put the initiative back with the Air Force again, and we know how dangerous they are when they get the scrums. Obviously you've got Danica Wilmore in there, and my goodness me, hasn't Danica put in a few shifts in her over the years. 30 years old now. Bryce Norton, her 14th senior cap, 10 for UCAF, joined the RAF back in 2010.
Yeah,
she's a tech mech engineer based at RAF Benson.
Yeah, absolutely. And Danica and I have also played rugby together for combined services, and indeed she's another WASP player. So yeah.
I'm sorry, who haven't you played rugby with, Charlie? I mean, it's like everyone that comes on.
Only the older ones. No, only the older ones. But no, Danica is an absolute stalwart of the RAF, and unfortunately for her, she's been slightly prone to injury in the past, which is why her actual caps level doesn't tally with her commitment to the RAF game. But no, great player.
Well, you can see why maybe she does pick up so many injuries, because her commitment is unbelievable.
Absolutely.
And I think if she only had one leg, she'd carry on playing, wouldn't she?
She'd certainly try. I know that she's had to be pulled off the pitch a couple of times, unfortunately, like I say. But no, it was a really strong player and a really lovely human being as well, Danica.
So here go the Air Force once more, spreading it onto the left-hand side. Chance once more. Oh, and it's going to be another try for that fabulous player, Caris Williams-Morris, fed by Daisy Fahy once more. Yeah. It's a third try for the Air Force. It's now looking rather predictable.
Unfortunately, and as we were saying earlier, it's the back line for the RAF. If you feed them the quick ball, they've really got the pace to actually just, unfortunately, do the Navy on the outside, and it is a shame. But again, I sound like I'm supporting the Navy. I'm not. It's a very well worked try from the RAF, and they clearly worked hard on that passage of the ball quickly.
Well, when they win the scrum in a position like that, you almost, back your house on them unscoring at the moment. And it's exactly what John Wilding said. He said, if our forwards win the ball, our backs are almost unstoppable.
Yeah.
And, Caris Williams-Morris, when you've got a player like her with the pace that she's got, well, it is very, very difficult for the opposition. But it's another difficult conversion attempt here from Sarah Graham. She was very close with the last one, which was in a similar position, wasn't it, for the first try?
Yeah, she just pulled it slightly left of the post. It almost had the legs, but slightly just not the direction. So let's see how she does with this one.
A brilliant offload again from Daisy Fahy, the fullback. They all seem to know exactly what they're doing out on that pitch.
Yeah, really well drilled, which you'd expect from John and his experience. And I know Sian's been assistant coach for this season as well, and they've done a really good job preparing the team.
Well, that conversion fell short again. And
I really hope I've not just given Danica the commentator's curse, but she's just getting some treatment down here as the game is returning to the centre.
Well, she was going to be the very last person who'd want to leave the field if she had to.
Absolutely, and I'm breathing again because she's back up on her feet, so I'm really pleased to see that.
Yeah, so are we all. Anybody who loves military rugby would not want to see a player of her stature having to leave the field early on. We've been playing, 26 minutes now in this first half, with the RAF now in a commanding 17-0 lead here. 3 great tries scored by them. The Navy have had some possession, they've had the ball, but they've just been let down by the final pass.
Slightly late tackle there on the Navy.
But referee Matt Ray allows play to go on. They have the ball. Danica Wilmore getting stuck in there again. Navy trying to make something of it. They've got the sun in their faces too, although actually the sun is sort of moving around, isn't it now? But nice work from Rebecca Addis there.
Yeah, really strong ball carrying there, and knocked a few of the RAF and ran through, which was impressive to see.
Yeah, Rose Dixon making some ground. That's one player who will never give up. I think she's really transformed Navy rugby in a way with her captaincy.
Yeah, she has, and she was such a young player when she was actually made captain, but the squad has grown around her. And it is great to see her in that leadership role, and she does, as you say, such a good job of motivating her colleagues. It's great to see.
I know the Navy suffered a little bit in the build-up to the in-services because so many of their pre-season matches were postponed, and so they've not had the chance to play so much together. And you do need that continuity, don't you? You need to be together as a squad to really understand each other and work together.
Yeah, agreed. And it's just as important for the TSG, or the Tactical Support Group, which is basically the staff that support the teams, to also be together, because actually we call it the 1%ers. It's those 1% that actually really deliver for the players on the pitch, and knowing each other and knowing where they're going to run, and just it gives you that final and potentially that final pass that at the moment for the Navy they're just not quite making.
Well done the Navy. They have won a penalty here, so
it's the build-up games that give you that spatial awareness of each other.
Certainly is. And Sam Alderson there, hoping to make some ground with that penalty down the pitch. Probably didn't go as far as she would have hoped it would have done, but nevertheless, Some hope for the Navy here. You just feel if they can get a try to get them back into it with some confidence. They've now conceded 3, of course, which is it's always going to be a difficult climb back for them. But if they can get something back here to keep themselves in the game. And I wouldn't say it's been a one-sided match so far, Charlie, by any means. But
no, not at all. As fast as the RAF back row are getting the ball out for their backs, the Navy forwards are actually doing a really good job. So they've had that turnover scrum. Their line out up until now have been going really well. Again, slight commentator's curse there for them. But their forwards are working really hard. I hope that the backs can do the job and get a try in.
So Emily Russell then with the throw for the line out. Been some good line out play we've seen today. Great spreading of the ball out. Here's Graham again.
Emily Russell's nickname at Stanford Rugby Club is Juggernaut. There you go, I'm learning a lot. And that's from Jeremy Ford, and he's delighted to see Emily playing with the RAF, proud coach at Stanford. So thank you, Jeremy, for getting in touch.
Yeah, it's Emily's first cap today as well, so welcome to Inter-Services Rugby.
Yeah, well, apparently with a name like Juggernaut, I'd say good luck to the rest of them.
Yeah, Emily, based at RAF Wittering, I think. 3 years now in the RAF, but Stanford Warriors player, as you say, Kath, and her first cap today for the Air Force, and it's all going pretty well for her so far. Doing a sterling job there at hooker. And it's quite a big boots to fill, isn't it, when Amy Cocaine's not playing. But here come the Navy. That was a tackle going in,
there.
and that was a penalty, I think, is given in favour.
Knock on, unfortunately. Just as she went to ground, she lost the ball forward. And it's such a shame because actually, again, they'd had a really strong scrum from the Navy under pressure from the RAF, got the ball out, and again, it's just that pass, final pass, and just the final skill level.
Yeah, and you just see Josie Parnaby, you know, number 14, waiting on this near side for some quality ball. You just got a feeling that she's got the pace in her to really make the RAF backs defence have to really pull the stops out. But scrum goes down, and a bit of an untidy mess there, so it's going to come back again. And referee Matt Ray just telling the players to call it. Lou Langdon just looking after things in the hooker's position there with the front row. Rosie Staples, Rebecca Addison, Lucy Honeybell, the front row for the Navy. If you're just joining us live here on Forces News, on our YouTube channel today, and on Rugby Pass as well. Great to have you with us on Rugby Pass TV today. Just over half an hour played in this women's inter-services tie. RAF 3 tries.
That's an excellent scrum.
Excellent drive, yeah, and they've won a penalty, and you can just see what it means to them. Anything like this is just a little boost, isn't it? For
yeah, especially in a game like this. You know, as I was saying about the 1% earlier, but certainly those forwards in that scrum, that will be to them almost as good as scoring a try. That was a great scrum.
And they've made plenty of ground, well inside the 22 here, so they'll have the line out and just see what they can do with this. I know a lot of neutrals would love it just to see the Navy getting on the score sheet here and just making this a real contest, because you never know. We saw it in the men's game. The Navy scored 2 quick tries, put the RAF on the rack, but the RAF came right back at them in that men's match, which was a terrific game. 25-24, by the way, the final score there earlier on today here at Brickfields. And just so nice to be watching a game in decent weather conditions here. But the Navy still have it, driving forward.
Well worked line out there as well. You can see the effort that's been putting into training for that line out to work. Really well drilled forward pack today.
The 2 number 8s really at it, Jess Bryan and Kat Robinson. So another penalty to the Navy. Not a lot of points in them kicking for goal, is there really? They may as well have with
Not at this point.
With this amount of ground
actually,
they've made.
their catch and drive. Sorry, John, to cut you off. Their catch and drive from the last line out. Actually, the closeness to the line now, their catch and drive is working well for them. So potentially there's a. Well, in fact, I won't say it. Let's watch the line out.
Rebecca Addis throws it in. It's well collected by the Navy. Opportunity now for them to drive through. Sean McLaughlin going in there, but well tackled by the Air Force, and they still have it, and they're making some ground here. It's Rowan Sinclair, and still have it. Air Force just having to defend now, making sure they're not offside. These are the best moments the Navy have had in the game so far.
Definitely, there's best opportunity so far for a try.
Rhiann Newton out wide onto this left-hand side. Ball goes to the captain, Rose Dixon. Beats off one challenge. Looking to beat another, just a couple of metres short of the line here. Best opportunity the Navy have had in the game. Addis driving for the line, and she's over. The Navy have the try, and that was great work from them, the forwards. Terrific play from them, and it really means so much to them. Rebecca Addis going over for the try, and it brings the Navy into the game. 5 points to 17.
Yeah, what a great time to score. 5 minutes to go till half-time, and that will give them that real lift. To be fair on the RAF, their defence were good, and their defensive line was strong, but the RAF in the close there were just stronger, and a well-worked try.
It really was, and they worked so hard to produce that, didn't they? You know, from the penalties they had and the line-outs, and that will give them such a boost of confidence.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was intelligent play from the Navy as well, as you say. It was coming for the last sort of 3-4 minutes, and intelligent decision-making from the Navy to actually create it.
Well, if the Navy are going to have any chance really of really keeping in this game, then the boot of Sam Alderson is going to be really important here, with this conversion for the extra 2 points that would bring them back to 7 points, just a 10-point deficit. Bit of conversation, discussions going on amongst the RAF at the moment, having conceded that this is really the first positive play that the Navy have had in the game. So, a bit of hush around the ground here as Sam Alderson tees it up. Can she make this? Oh, it's gone just way to the right-hand side. Disappointment, but nevertheless, some hope for the Royal Navy here. Getting that try back, as you say, a crucial time in the game. We've got about 3.5 minutes to go to the half-time whistle here at Brickfields, with the Royal Navy trailing to the Air Force by 17 points to 5. But it has got them back into the game. At half-time, by the way, we'll be hearing from Jenkins, the Royal Navy head coach, obviously in her first season coaching the Navy. And you can see, I mean, some of her influences are already creeping into the way they play. That determination, I think, was clear enough, wasn't it, Charlie, to see?
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting to watch the Navy and how they progressed this season. And again, I was chatting to her before the game. I know she was involved last season as one of the assistant coaches, and it's been a really building season for her. And she's proud to be announced as head coach and has worked with the development team just before Christmas, and they had a few games, and she's brought some of those players on and into the Royal Navy squad. So they've started to get a bit of strength in depth, which will see them through.
So a line out then to the Navy. Rebecca Addis, the try scorer, will get that ball in. What can the Navy do here? A second try before half-time for them. Well, that would put them in dreamland, wouldn't it, really?
Absolutely. Be a much happier changing room, I think, and even just after this first try, I think it'll be a much happier changing room. The RAF still can also go into that changing room. I'm sure John will be pleased with the half-time score, but potentially looking to get on the front foot, where at the moment they're slightly on the back foot. The Navy are tails up, and again Rose breaking a tackle there and going through. It's strong play.
Well, she's led them back into this game, there's no doubt about that. Here's Sinclair, brought to ground by the RAF. I see Olivia Fafita is on as well, wearing number 18 for the RAF. So a change had to be made. It's difficult for us to see, actually. You were over on the far side of the field in the shade, but oh, look, it's Caris Williams-Morris. Look at that run from her. Caris Williams-Morris, what absolute quality. She takes the kick. Oh, and it's just gone out of play, but what magnificent play. And that is international quality at its best.
And it shows what the RAF have in there on their side, the individual talent there from Caris there, making what, a 50-yard individual run.
Well, if that ball had bounced just as she'd hoped it had, and she'd scored a try to complete her hat-trick, wow.
Yeah,
that would have been the try of the day without any shadow of a doubt.
We spoke about Champagne Rugby before the game starting, and with this weather, it's definitely on. I think in the second half we're going to see some, but that would have been an amazing try.
Oh dear. You know, you marvel at stuff like that. and see our military players playing it. Well, it must fill you with a huge amount of pride, Charlie.
Absolutely, especially as a front row forward. I can only dream of playing like that. But no, it shows the character and actually the type of player that we've now got playing inter-service rugby, as you say. It's come on leaps and bounds, and that would have been a fantastic try. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be, but I'm pretty sure we're going to see more of her in the second half.
Well, she's got 2 tries already, and there's no reason to suggest that she might not score anymore. But anyone who was watching that's almost worth a replay in itself to see that. RAF, though, on the 22, driving and looking for a 4th try, which would really put them in the driving seat in this game. We're now over the 40 minutes, but extra time, obviously, for the breaks in play that we've had. RAF still have it, and here's Williams-Morris again. Moves it inside to Orla Proctor. And this is going to be another try for the Air Force. And it is Rebecca De Filippo who's over for her 2nd try of this match. And the RAF now with a 4th try. Well, that's what the Navy could really have done without, but maybe it represents really every time that the Air Force are anywhere near, they are going to score. They're just looking so strong.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rebecca De Filippo is one of those players playing up at Leicester Tigers at the moment under Vicky McCormack, and she's been representing them and playing in the Celtic Challenge, and you can really see that player is actually starting to take effect here, and her level of civilian rugby is really making a difference on that pitch. And she's been playing there with Orla Proctor, and I think it's Orla that actually passed her the ball for the assist. So great play from those two.
Well, it was, and a splendid try for the Air Force. We were just marvelling at what Caris Williams-Morris might have done. This is a really good kick, just a bit short though from Sarah Graham, and I think that is the last action of the first half. Well, 22 points to 5. The Royal Air Force in front. They clearly deserved the lead, Charlie, but a few signs of hope for the Royal Navy.
Yeah, as you say, the RAF tries are really excellent tries, and they really take nothing away from the light blue side there. Well drilled by John and Sean. But actually the Navy's still in it. The defensive line is still there. Fitness is working through, and their forward pack are actually making ground against the RAF. So that would be an area I would think John will be having a chat within the changing room. So yeah, some interesting and exciting rugby being played. and hopefully an exciting second half coming.
Absolutely. We've seen some exciting stuff, obviously, from both teams, particularly from the RAF backs, who have looked sensational, and the work that the forwards have done to produce that opportunity has been absolutely terrific. But a bit of hope for the Navy. They scored that try, the sort of try you would expect them to score, wouldn't you? You know, lots of hard work and pushing their way through.
Yeah, I'm just going to say the word grunt ultimately to score the try, but yeah, really hard work from the forwards. Again, I mentioned at the time, good decision making, and actually where they were getting those penalties, they were kicking for the line. Their line out is actually quite strong, so again, an area where the RAF might want to target. But interestingly, both sides at the moment are choosing to go for a back line-out ball. I haven't seen much front, but the Navy catch and drive is working well for them. And yeah, it was a well-worked try, but as you say, potentially predictable. It was sort of forwards try.
It certainly was, but we've seen some terrific back players, I say, from the Royal Air Force, and that gives them a commanding 22 points to 5 lead at half-time. Charlie and I will be back, of course, for action for the second half. But now let's find out a little bit more, shall we, about the new Royal Navy head coach, Sarah Jenkins.
Drive, push, do not let her get anywhere, nice! So I'm Chief Petty Officer Sarah Jenkins, and I'm the women's head coach. Okay, last one then, and then in you come! What happens when you hit a pad? Drive, what else happens? Yeah, so I joined the Navy as a footballer, never really played rugby. I then went to a touch tag tournament at HMS Collingwood, and I got asked if I wanted to come along, and that was in 2005, and here I am all those years later. So what we want with two people, let's aim for the middle and really keep driving through, okay? You want to get through that middle. So it's been quite a tough transition coming into the senior setup as a coach. The decision was out of my hands medically. I had a son in 2021, and since that my body's not been able to come back to a player as I was before. So coaching and coming into the senior setup, even though I've been with the development setup for a very long time, coming into the senior setup, I've played alongside a lot of these girls. So trying to transition between coach Jenks and friend Jenks, that has been tough, but I think I've established quite that I've got a coach Jenks and I've got a friend Jenks, and everybody knows the difference between the two. So it has been tough because I'd rather be out there playing with them, but at least I'm still involved with them and can be with them each step of the way, really.
Is it easier being a player, or is it easier being a coach in those situations?
Definitely easier being a player. Being a player, you just turn up, get told what the coaches need you to do. Coaching is a lot more harder. I think you were way too high there. Once you've hit Abby, you was just up like that. So I was assistant coach last year, and I knew a lot of the girls, and then coming from the development season, so I was in that position that a lot of these girls has come up from the development section, so it's like I've known them quite a long time. So even though I was head coach from December, I've known a lot of the girls that's coming into the setup from September. So it was quite an easy transition. Looking forward to it. Nervous, a lot of pressure on my shoulders, but at the same time, I can't wait.
Worst dresser. Do you know what? I'd actually say OB.
Nathaniel Tidjard Jones.
Can I say Amy Cocaine? Like, she goes out in granddad slippers quite often.
Danica Wilmore, because she wears some awful shirts.
Craig Duncan, worst taste of clothes.
Harry Challoner, just for a stitch up.
Probably myself. Definitely Ben Chambers, best dress.
I'd probably go for Bex Folds, our second row.
Well, Amy Cocaine and her granddad slippers. I'm here for them.
I'll give it to Joe Parkin. I wouldn't tell him, but...
I think Sarah Bonner, she's always got like a nice trench coat on, a bit like Gabby Logan vibes.
I'll go with myself. Horrendous.
Any go-to karaoke songs you got then?
Usually Meatloaf. Absolutely murder it.
Mikey.
Is there any songs that he butchers?
Yeah, all of them. Just everything he does. Everything he sings.
Toby Evans, he hasn't got a note in him.
Can I say Amy again? If you hear us belt out Adele, you'll see exactly what I mean.
I give JC that on the bus. He can deliver a good song.
JJ.
I don't know actually. I think we maybe have to have a little riff off and find out if we can work out who it is.
And I'll go with Bex Folds.
I'm going to say Emma Tadman. She doesn't know what contact or non-contact is. Everything to her is contact.
Oh, Craig Duncan.
Danica, get him strapping. Like, literally that.
James Roberts can have that.
Owain Davis. Hands in pockets all day.
Well, it's 5:22 here at Brickfields. The Royal Navy got a lot to do in this second half, and it was the Royal Navy men who gave themselves a lot to do probably in the second half of the men's game earlier. And I'm joined by the Royal Navy backs coach Andy Vance. Andy, I asked Jared at the end of the game, I just said, was that more of a relief to get to the end because you were so in control in the first half? What was your take on the whole game in the end?
I think Jared speaks very well, and he's nailed it there. I think it was a relief in the end. I think we put ourselves in a position where we allowed it to be a relief. We let a lot of chances go big in first half. We made some questionable decisions second half. A couple of missed penalties we normally bank on. So, on another day it's maybe 40, 50 points, but today a win's a win. It's an IS win, and we'll enjoy it.
And actually, in some ways, when an IS win is so close like that, or an IS game is so close like that, maybe it gives you even more motivation. You can't go into the next fixture. I wouldn't say you'd ever be complacent, but there is no room for complacency now.
No, it seems similar to last year where we drew and we were still in it. We had to beat the Army, and it gave us a lot of drive to go and show service rugby what we were about, and I think we've got the exact same feeling, albeit with a win today. We've got that exact same desire to go and learn from what we didn't quite get right and get right in a couple of weeks.
Credit to the RAF as well. They took their opportunities where they could and obviously gave you the game. I wouldn't say, Jordan he's a brilliant player, but not quite sort of 100% off the boot as well today, but that was probably conditions that played a part.
Yeah, conditions, big pressure moments, you can name it. He's great. He's normally that guy that will make one mistake and it won't faze him. Today there was a couple in a row, and I'm sure he'll address that, but yeah, no issues from us on what he did then.
You've got. I almost don't want to bring up Sam Matavesi, but I know that it's unlikely he'll be available for the next game. It was great to have him here today on the Navy stomping ground, and to add a try to. And I know he loves scoring tries. He'll deny it, but he loves scoring, and he nearly got that second one as well. So great to have him in the side.
I've asked him. I've told him to promise he's not going to mention it because it's the sort of thing he would tell us about again and again.
Yeah.
Remember that chip and chase? But yeah, he was very unlucky not to score in the second half, and then similarly Josh Williams a few minutes before just couldn't get it. So again, another 14 points on another day. So but it's great to have him around, and he's great for the lads on the pitch and off the pitch.
what difference does it make with the conditions you had last year, especially as a backs coach? I mean, you probably didn't have anything to say last year because it was all forward play, because it was just impossible to get any movement. So
last year,
it's a lovely place to play when it's like this.
Absolutely, we wanted to play a good running game of rugby, and we wanted to attack the edge and play wide, and we very nearly did. We probably created 5 opportunities to go and really threaten their line. We didn't quite execute, but the intent was there. We created the chances. It's just that last pass maybe. But yeah, the pitch was great today, and the conditions suited us. We just didn't execute.
Yeah, and I think you really entertained the crowds. Just one more question before we go back, and obviously the players will be back on shortly. I know it's probably too early now to think about the Army, but you know, is it something that's in your mind as soon as that game's finished?
Yeah, I mean, we'll enjoy the game. We'll enjoy the win today. We'll see how tonight goes, and then next week onwards, we'll start looking at the guys in red.
Okay.
Until then, we'll just enjoy today. It's a nice win.
Well, thank you very much, Andy Vance, the Royal Navy backs coach. We're back to the women's game and back to our commentary with John Knighton and Charlie Maxwell.
Well, thanks very much indeed, Kath, and great to hear from the Royal Navy, of course, after a terrific victory earlier on today. 25 points to 24. If you didn't get a chance to see it live, then please do watch the rerun, which is there for you to see, of course, on our Forces News YouTube channel. But don't go away just yet, because we've got a second half here to look forward to of this Inter-Services Women's game. The Royal Navy trailing by 22 points to 5 at the moment. They've got a lot of work to do from a very talented RAF team with their tries so far, with Caris Williams-Morris getting 2, and also Sarah Graham and Rebecca De Filippo getting the 4th try just before half-time. And Charlie Maxwell alongside me here for the second half, and it's going to be a difficult one for the Navy to get back into this, but if they can get the next try, who knows?
Yeah, it'd be interesting what the coaches have said to them at half-time and how they come out of the blocks. We're seeing here the Navy strong catch from kick-off and making ground back up to the halfway line. Decent kick from the RAF as well to restart the game.
Rhiannon Newton making some good ground there for the Navy. Collected by Rose Morris, the captain, but the Navy still have it with Sean McLaughlin.
They've lost the ball there in the RAF.
They're so fast, aren't they? And what a break this is from Leon Mahon. She's going through. Rose Dixon brings her to ground. A great tackle from the captain, but the Air Force still have it. Here's Lucy Nye. Great work from her.
We've still got numbers flooding through as well for the RAF.
This could be real danger for the Navy here. Rebecca Falls. Nye outside here. The kick goes forward. Caris Williams-Morris lurking, but well collected by the Navy. Referee is allowing play to go. Has he brought the play back?
No, whistle's gone. He's taking the play back over there, but unfortunately they hadn't heard the whistle, so absolutely play going back.
But Olivia Critchley-Peddle did well there. She had a marauding Caris Williams-Morris coming towards her.
Absolutely. I think the ref might needed to blow his whistle again there. Unfortunately, they never heard it.
But it is a penalty to the Air Force. And are they going to go for goal, or are they going to run it? It looks like they're definitely going to run this. Daisy Fahy then goes out to touch, and what, about 5 metres?
Yeah,
6 metres from the line.
Yeah.
And this is eminently scoreable here for the Air Force. You know how dangerous they are from the set pieces.
Absolutely. What I'm going to find interesting is whether they keep it in the forwards or ship it to the backs, because so far I would say it's quick line out off to the backs and score in this left-hand corner, but let's see.
Squadron leader Louise Langdon with the... But I don't think it was straight.
Not straight.
And so a bit of respite for the senior service here.
And we don't get to test my prediction, which is probably good.
I'm sure there'll be more predictions to come in the next few minutes.
Yeah.
2.5 minutes into the second half then here at Brickfields. Great chat there, Kath, with the victorious Royal Navy team, and they were pretty delighted with that result. There were some great tries as well to see, which hopefully you enjoyed that at half-time. If you missed the match, then a bit of a catch-up for you there. Put in then for the Navy with this important scrum to try and clear the danger. Rhiannon Newton puts it in, but it's got to come back again. Well, the front row get themselves sorted. Far side of the field from our camera position here, high up in the standing stand here at Brickfields. Still a good crowd here. Really enjoyed the spring sunshine in Plymouth today. And that is a penalty to the Navy. Putting their bodies on the line here, aren't they, Charlie? There's no doubt
absolutely.
about it.
And it's always important for the front row, the first scrum of each half, to become the dominant forward pack. It's just a shame there that clearly someone's taken a slight injury.
Yeah, it looks like it could be Rose Staples, who's just taken a bit of a knock there, getting some treatment. Don't forget, wherever you are, please let us know where you're watching and that you're enjoying the game. I'm sure if you support Royal Air Force Rugby, you'll be particularly happy at the moment with the score at 22-5 in favour of the Light Blues. And Kath is standing by to read us some more messages as and when they come in.
These aren't criticism at all. We've just had a couple of ex-military players, ex-Navy players, who say that they've definitely beaten the RAF in their time. So I didn't hear the reference to that, and I know that there have been wins, but obviously those Navy women who have beaten the RAF remember it well. There's one from Louise Clark, who said she was a utility back for the Royal Navy 2001 to 2012. She said we definitely beat the RAF, maybe in 2003, and she remembers because they went out dressed as crabs. There you go.
I don't remember that.
Maybe the inaugural match at Burnaby Road in 2003. Sophie Hines also said she played for Navy and they've definitely beaten the RAF, but couldn't give us a date. But I think I seem to remember they have, John, but...
Well, listen, I stand corrected.
Before my time.
I will stand corrected.
Okay, I wasn't looking to correct you, John. It just you've obviously caused a bit of a issue on our.
Well, it proves that
socials.
People are watching and listening.
Yes,
that's all
exactly.
I can say.
So thanks to Louise and Sophie for getting in touch.
And my apologies, Louise and Sophie, and to all of you Royal Navy rugby players who have beaten the Air Force in the past. I do know for a fact that the Royal Navy have never beaten the Army. Charlie,
well,
and
I
I'm
was
sure
staying
you...
quiet and not sure if I could bring that up, but absolutely, I know that we're unbeaten against the Navy and unfortunately only once against the RAF, but, you know, at least it shows Services Rugby is becoming more competitive, which is absolutely what's needed for this competition.
No, absolutely right.
But, yeah, keeping quiet. The Army history with the Royal Navy is a strong one.
Yeah, so unfortunately for them, Rebecca Addis, their hooker, has had to lead the field, and so she is being replaced by their replacement hooker to go into the front row there. And that's a shame for Rebecca there, from HMS Prince of Wales, the 28-year-old, making her 8th appearance today for the Royal Navy. And we wish her well, and hopefully that injury is not going to keep her from Twickenham in a couple of weeks' time.
One of my favourite nicknames, Baddis.
Baddis.
What a great combination of first and second names.
Absolutely.
Baddis.
And as you say, let's hope she makes a recovery back for that game in 2 weeks' time, because no one wants to miss that game.
No. But the Navy, unfortunately for them, the line out not straight for them. So the RAF will have a go this time.
So having said the line-outs in the first half was strong, unfortunately that's the first 2 in the second half that have been not straight. So
that's right.
Let's hope they both improve.
For both teams.
Yeah.
So Louise Langdon, her chance to have a go with this.
Some much better showing from the
was.
RAF.
good ball, so quick. Releasing their backs.
Absolutely.
To Filippo. Still going.
It's a strong run from her.
And here's Lucy Nye. Rebecca Falls runs into a couple of brick walls, but the RAF still have it. Good tackle, comes in on the 22. Nye picks it up again, spreading the ball wide. There's opportunity then for them for...
Navy have stolen, but illegally.
Illegally, says referee, and so it'll be another penalty taken very quickly by Lucy Nye. Here's Danica charging for the line, very, very close. Danica Wilmore looking so strong, and the Navy having to defend. It's not, is it enough?
Held up.
It has been held up.
Yeah.
A great defensive work from the Navy then, just to keep that from crossing the line. They look so strong there going forward, the Air Force. But the Navy have held it.
Yeah, as you say, strong defence there. And that Jenks will be happy with her defensive line.
They certainly needed that.
We've got another viewer from all the way from Australia, because it's 2 a.m. there. Outback Traveller at 58, and he says he's an Aussie. It's the first ladies rugby match they've watched in full. I don't have an axe to grind on either side, however I'm very impressed with the RAF backs. It must be good because it's after 2 a.m. here and I'm still watching. So there we go. And he's commented a lot. I'm assuming it's a he, sorry if you're not.
Whereabouts in the Outback, I wonder? Because the Outback's a pretty big place, isn't it?
Well, yeah, travelling, I think. Outback Traveller.
Yep.
So all over, John, I reckon.
Marvellous. Well, wherever you are today, it's great to have you with us. And Rhiann Dillmore, who has come on as the replacement hooker for the Navy. She's a paramedic based at... Well, she's studying paramedicine. Plays for two clubs, Yeovil and Preston. So she's in the north of England, she plays for Preston. If she's in the south, she plays for Yeovil.
And her friend Sapphire Hollands has been on, watching from Preston. She's an Army supporter, but she's watching her course mate, Rhi Dillmore, playing for the Navy. So she'll be really pleased that she's come on.
Yeah. Excellent.
Just jumping back slightly to the
robbed
Outback
by
supporter.
the number 8 for the Air Force by Kat Robinson. Real scrap going on in there at the moment. Big opportunities for the Air Force possibly here if they can spread the ball wide onto the right. They've got people queuing up. That's lovely work from them. And going through to score another try for them. Orla Proctor goes over, and that's a 5th try for the Air Force. And they have extended their lead now to 27 points to 5.
Yeah, unfortunately, you did feel that was coming for about the last 5 minutes. What beautiful handoff there to give Orla the ball to run through. And she's such an exciting player coming through, Orla. She's relatively new to the RAF game, but she's, at the moment, if I said raw, but what I mean by that is raw talent, and she's got such a flair, exciting player coming through.
Yeah, her first cap, of course, based at RAF Hollington. Another Leicester Tigers player as well.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, good shout out there for Orla. What a fantastic try from the RAF backs.
And I know that my friend Jamie Doig, of course, is the kit manager for Leicester Tigers men. I think they're involved in the game today, but he'll be pretty pleased to know that some of the Leicester Tigers ladies players are making big contributions here at inter-services level today. So, another opportunity then for Sarah Graham. Not been successful with too many of her kicks so far, but this is certainly kickable. And that one has again drifted wide.
Right.
So the score stays on 27-5. She's missed 3 out of the 4 penalties, kicks she's had for the conversion so far. But a 5th try for the RAF, and that puts them in a very commanding position now. 27 points to 5. And we played, 52 minutes here of this game, 52.5 minutes. Difficult. It looks difficult for the Navy now to pull themselves back. against a very strong RAF side. It'd be very interesting to know what the Army players who are watching this think, because they'll know they'll be in for a game when they meet at Kingsholm on the 11th of May.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, that's what's unfortunately for the Navy. Before writing off the end of the game, there are 28 minutes still to go. But that is actually what's exciting about this season. The likely draw is we're, for the first time in the women's game, playing for the championship in the final game. So as I say, I'm trying not to write the Navy off this early. However, that will be an exciting game on the 11th, especially with the players, hopefully best players available to both squads, Army and RAF. That really will be a blistering game of women's rugby.
Well, it's important not to, as you say, to write anything yet, because comebacks do happen, and they definitely have happened. But at the moment, Air Force so much stronger in all the departments. You know, they're really playing some great rugby here, not allowing the Air Force anything. Danica Wilmore surging through as she does so often, and she's picked up an injury there, and I think the referee is going to stop it. It will be a penalty to the Navy, but good to see Danica getting up from that one. She just it looked like it was quite a nasty one there, but she's she's built a stern stuff. She
is, and as I said earlier, she's played civilian rugby to a decent level, a high level as well. So she's used to taking those hard contacts. So it's good to see her getting back up and on her feet and playing on. Strong player, and would be a loss if she goes off. She's an excellent player, Danica.
So another line out then for the Navy, absolutely bang on the halfway line. And as you can see, Lewis with our pitch side camera being able to get as pretty close as he possibly can to the action here. There's Ryan Dillmore about to take it.
Just while we've got a quick break, I was just going to go back to the Aussie Traveller. It's a demonstration of the media coverage for these two games, that actually the women's game's being broadcast live around the world as well. It's brilliant to see, and the advances that service rugby now between the men's and the women's, it's excellent.
Yeah, well, we're really pleased, obviously, to be able to bring this.
On that, Charlie, Outback Traveller has replied saying, I'm an Aussie long-distance truck driver. I drive one of those multi-trailer combinations. Name is Indy. These girls are impressive.
Well, thanks very much, Indy, for one, watching, two, your support, and three, your shout-outs. Keep them coming.
It's brilliant.
But yeah, please spread the message that this is such a great game and definitely worth people watching.
Okay.
Audience participation always welcome.
Yeah.
And we should apologise. In fact, I should apologise, because the Navy have changed some of their numbers of their replacements. So, in fact, Eleanor is wearing number 19, and wearing number 17 is Elona Bythel. So, my apologies for that, but we weren't given those number changes on the shirts.
Oh,
and here come the Navy. Opportunity for them to score a second try here. It's a great run from Rowan Sinclair. Brought to ground well inside the 22. What can the Navy do here? Can they get themselves a second try? Rose Dixon charging through, trying to make as much ground as possible. Good phases of play for the Navy. This is what they do best. This is how they got their first try of the match. And they're still there. Air Force having to defend well. Drive through again from Rowan Sinclair. She's taken a knock. The Navy still have it. Oh, but it's knocked on. That final pass just to Jess Bryan. It was just too far for her, really. Just reaching out.
Yeah,
but they do.
It's called back. They've got the ball back, which is...
They've got the penalty. Now, do they want some points? Or are they going to be bold? So let's just see what they can do here then. And There's a bit of debate going on, isn't there, amongst the Navy about what they're going to do. What would you do in their situation, Charlie?
For me personally, with this scoreline, I think they've got to go for the try. I don't think the kick really would add much value at this point. And they have. They've gone for the touch and go.
Ball goes out wide then to Critchley Pedal. Brought to ground. Navy still have it though. Still opportunities for them here. Scrapping it. There's Honeybell. Just waiting for the chance to go forward again with Critchley Pedal.
And again, it's good phase play from the Navy and a well worked towards, but unfortunately just looks like it was just lost forward there in the tackle, unfortunately. And again, it's just that final skill again, letting them down slightly. However, never put the Navy off in a scrum, so let's see.
It'll be the Air Force who'll get the put in.
Come on, Brickfields, get behind your team!
Well, I'm sure that if anyone was even thinking about nodding off, that would have certainly woken them up from the ground announcer here about getting behind your team. Well,
it actually appears to be a Navy scrum as well, John.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not quite sure how from here. We haven't got a close-up screen,
no,
but
we haven't got it. Yeah, we haven't got the comms with the referee, unfortunately, which is disappointing for here. But never mind. But the RAF have won it back, pulling themselves out, and that was a penalty, I think, has now been given, isn't it, in favour of the RAF. Again, not quite sure what that was for.
Looks like binding at the scrum there, potentially. It's unfortunate for the Navy as well. From that position, it could have been such an excellent position for them. And as you said earlier, you feel they need the score at this point to stay in contention for this game.
Well, sometimes, when you have so much possession, you just need to have something at the end to show for it, and maybe 3 points from a penalty would have given them something to show for it. But when you're this far behind, I say penalties are not a lot of use really, but you need the 7 points, don't you? But
yeah, I think if I said death or glory at that point, but yeah, I'm not sure 3 points would be that effective. But as you say, it would be better than coming away with
nothing.
With nothing.
As it is, Air Force have it. Lovely play from them with Lucy Nye, that forward ball. Great challenge. Rebecca Falls going in there. Comes back to the scrum half.
Oh, nice handoff.
RAF just looks so dangerous every time they come forward with the ball.
Yeah, the flow between the forwards and the backs at the moment is really good from the RAF, and that well-worked line out, quick, fast to the back and straight out to the backs.
Well,
and with this back line, it's dangerous.
Yeah, Sarah Graham was quickest to that ball, but she has gone down there and looks in a bit of pain. Just went down low for the ball, and obviously the tackle came in, and she doesn't look in a particularly good shape here.
No,
so
unfortunately.
We just hope that she's going to be okay. Any more social media mentions at all, Kath? I think any more calls from Australia, perhaps?
No, I mean, Outback Traveller is having a full-on conversation with everyone on YouTube, so this is brilliant. Just getting the conversation going. A few that I didn't mention earlier. Sinks 1967 said, go Navy, go Rowan Sinclair, love mum and dad who are watching from the mid-Atlantic on their way back from New York.
Well, there you go.
That's another dedicated
Wow.
We've never had that before. We've never had viewers watching from a cruise liner in the middle of the Atlantic. I hope there's no icebergs around, that's all. But I think fantastic. And
we've got someone who, I couldn't read the name, unfortunately. It was more of numbers, really, is the name on YouTube. But they're supporting Alona from Naples in Italy. And then we've got Diana Bird and Patricia Stone, who both said it was a great start from the RAF and fantastic play, which they're continuing to do. That was in the first half as well. So I'm just going back on a few messages as well.
Diana Bird is another RAF player, actually, and used to be part of Combined Services Management. So, yeah, excellent player.
Don't tell
in her
me
time.
you played with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course you have. Of course you have.
But no, Di Bird was back when Inter-Services started, and as I say, decent player in her time, and hello to you, Di.
Excellent.
Okay, so we've now got comms with the referee, which is great, and it's not good news, unfortunately, at the moment for Sarah Graham, who is going to have to leave the field. So I think it was a bit of a clash there. She's come off, well, she's sitting up now, which is good, but it's not good, and it's disappointing when you see something like this, but injuries happen all the time in this game, don't they, Charlie?
It is, and it is unfortunate because you never want to see a player coming off injured, but hopefully it's just a short term, and with a break she's just...
She is up and will be absolutely determined to carry on if she possibly can.
And I believe Danica's come off as well in this period of time. So Danica's been.
Well, she's certainly put a shift in, hasn't she, as Danica
yeah,
Wilmore?
Absolutely.
So it's probably Zoe Franklin maybe who's come on to replace her. If it is wearing 23, that will be her first cap for the RAF today. But Sarah's gone down again, and it's her right ankle that looks like. And I just wonder whether maybe she twisted her ankle when she fell. I don't know. It's
difficult to say from here, but yeah, let's hope it's not a serious injury and just.
Well, we are waiting obviously for the game to carry on, and I think there is going to be a change made. Referee Matt Ray is just consulting his other officials just to make sure that things are okay. And so Caris McNevin wearing 22 I think is going to be the next player on, but it looks like so in fact Sarah Graham is having to leave the field anyway because Caris McNevin is already on the field. So Sarah Graham is putting a great shift, obviously. One conversion out of the 5 opportunities, and she'll be absolutely gutted to be leaving the field.
Yeah, and I think that was a nice touch there. Honeyball just going over to her and clearly, I hope, wishing her well as she leaves the field. But it's just a show of how in this game, the two services sides generally know each other, and actually the players on and off the park, the friendship and that great side of rugby coming through.
So we're now hearing what referee Matt Ray has to say, which is going to really help us with our commentary, certainly from my point of view, Charlie, anyway.
Yeah,
so.
definitely. It'd be interesting after that break if the Navy have used it wisely and had a good chat with each other in terms of their defensive line, because the RAF were definitely coming back through when, unfortunately, Sarah took her injury.
Well, the Navy get the scrum. There's another RAF player just gone down on the pitch. That's number 8, Kat Robinson. We've obviously talked about Kat. 18 squadron she's based with. Made her debut, played her first rugby for Ayleston St James in Leicester, another of my favourite places. Now plays for Henley Hawks, based at RAF Odeum. Nice to get a bit of info about the players. And really you hear about their background. Some of these young ladies have played since they were 7 or 8 years old. And a couple of generations ago, I don't think we would ever have said that, would we, Charlie? You know, about young girls playing from the age of 7?
No, definitely. I would have loved that opportunity. For me and my generation, we generally started at, well, for me, it was university, and for those joining the services, when we joined the services. But it is great to see now that, you know, women are getting the opportunity, or girls as it is, get the opportunity at age group level now to play rugby. And the age group level rugby is getting much stronger, and it's just adding value to the game itself and the skill level of the players now. And I know I keep referencing women's rugby. Actually, they're rugby athletes now, whether they're men or women, and that's great to see.
It certainly is.
And I've just checked my notes. You were absolutely bang on earlier when you said Kat Robinson had 16 caps. So, sorry, John. You were right and I was wrong at 18. But, yeah, 16 caps. As I say, Michelle Crowler currently holding the RAF record for 20 caps at the moment.
But it just goes to show that a pencil and paper and sitting up until midnight making these notes actually sometimes pays off.
Yeah, absolutely. I've tried to go techno and I'm a bit of a techno biff, so it's not working that well for me. But yeah, iPad versus paper.
I'm sure yours are better than my scrawly writing anyway. It's a penalty to the Royal Navy, which is being taken by Sam Alderson. And that's a good penalty, makes plenty of ground for them. Now, what can the Navy do here? They really do need another try here to put some element of respectability on this score. We played nearly half an hour of the second half.
Come on, Brickfields, let's hear you.
Yeah, I agree. The position during the game, the Navy, the gameplay has been relatively equal, but unfortunately the RAF able to capitalise, and with their strong back line, their breakaway run, breakaway tries a couple of times, the Navy doing a lot of dog work, but not much scoreline to show from it.
Just one try in the second half, though, for the RAF. Remember, they got 4 in the first half in a dominant display. And the Navy have been dogged in their defence. That's a knock-on by the Air Force. That'll be brought back. A replacement coming on, that Leon Mahon is coming off. And so is Josie Parnby for the Navy to be replaced. So 19 for them. Kirsty O'Brien coming on, the flanker, and a replacement as well for the Navy with Adrienne Baker coming on from RNAS Coldrow. So she's not really got too far to travel after today, based at Helston. Her second season with the Royal Navy. Just one cap to her name so far, so her second cap today for the Dark Blues.
Replacement for the Navy, 14 is coming off. Needham Josie Parnaby to be replaced by LAT Adrienne Baker.
Hells Richardson has been on, Hells Bells. She said that defo, obviously Navy Rugby, she's involved in, definitely 05-06, Newbury then Temeraire, the Royal Navy beat the RAF 2 years on the bounce, according to Helen Richardson. And I don't often argue with her.
I'm not going to argue with her at all. I'll get I will get a tongue lashing next time I see Hells Bells. So I've thoroughly corrected here, haven't we?
Sorry, John. It's just an ongoing conversation. I thought I'd bring you to.
Thank you,
John. I'm going to throw you under the bus. There's no we here.
I consider myself well and truly thrown under the bus.
You might be getting some messages through social media later.
You don't know what you're doing. It's probably one that referees often get, but I'll probably be getting that one today.
No, Doc Cox says you're both doing a great job, and he says greetings from Gran Canaria. I mean, he just wanted to throw that one in as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks, Doc, and hello to you too.
But at least the sun is shining here in sunny Plymouth today, so we're lucky with that.
Yeah. And for those of you watching, Doc was a fantastic supporter of the women's game, and really one of those people working in the background to make sure that actually men's and women's game were brought up to equality, and Doc was massive there. Not only that, but also a driver for Combined Services and UCAF. He really worked hard to make sure that the three services integrated well together. So yeah, a driving force behind rugby.
Thoroughly good bloke as well. Know Doc extremely well, and hopefully you're enjoying yourself in Gran Canaria at the moment, Doc, before you embark on your latest charitable fundraising project. He's always doing something. He's cycling from one end of the country to the...
He absolutely is, and don't look at me oddly as I say this word, but I've been...
So Elise Fletcher, who's just come on, has been sin-binned. The prop forward, the squadron leader, Elise Fletcher, so she's off for 10 minutes. So maybe the Navy can make something out of this.
Absolutely.
With an extra player.
As long as that epistaxis stops, John. That's a word I've been challenged to say while doing the commentary today. Epistaxis, bleeding nose, ultimately.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, hopefully that's brought to a close by the physio.
Laura Hodgson's come on to say, Pig says, let's go Auntie Riri, go Navy. I don't know who Pig is. I think it's probably a child or an animal.
Is this some sort of conversation that's going on YouTube?
No, that was just support for for one of the players, but I'm just picking out the fun ones, John.
Well, I can't see anyone called Pig in this team here.
No, and I haven't been told that wasn't a nickname, but there is a nickname I have been told we've not mentioned yet, and that's Flip Flop for Philip.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Flip Flop. Yeah.
I did try and get, broadcastable stories from both squads before the game, but they were both staying tight-lipped. So
we'll find a way.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll find a way. And Flip Flop, of course, scored the third try for the RAF just before half-time to put them in the driving seats here. The fourth try for the RAF. So it's looks like there's some more replacements about to be made.
So I'm not quite sure what the hold-up is at the moment, but...
Pig is a dog. There you go.
Thank you.
I'm having a lot of... I'm not even watching rugby.
Pig is I am so confused. I thought I knew my animals, but clearly not.
Well, now I want to know what kind of dog it is, because we call my brother's French bulldog Pig as well, because they're quite pig-like, so they snore.
Well, I know during the last inter-service campaign, we actually gave the players' dogs' name, as in the players who had dogs. We did shout out to the dogs.
Oh,
so
there you go. Yeah, more shout-outs for pets, please.
So Danica is back on.
Brilliant.
Because obviously that sin bin for Elise Fletcher means that they are down someone in the front row. So Danica Wilmore thought her day's work was over. It isn't. She's got another 5 minutes plus to do. But she won't mind that at all.
Definitely the curse for front row players that you have to stay warm even when you've done, as you say, the 60 minutes dog work. You've constantly got to stay warm on the bench in case this happens. So welcome back to the game, Danica.
The ball, loose ball, it flies into touch.
It's good pressure there, though, from the RAF defence to their credit, which I think forced that error there from the Navy. More replacements coming with 5 minutes to go, so 10 and 8.
Yeah, another change, more changes being made. So going off, Brianne Newton and Sam Alderson. And the replacements coming on for them. So we've got 21 and 17, so 21 is Cheryl Goodwin and
Lieutenant Commander Goodwin.
And big cheers for those who are coming on the pitch. But the chance then for the RAF to really seal it, and it's a superb run once again for the line and going under the posts. What a try that is.
Absolutely.
A brilliant try for the RAF. And, well, it was Daisy Fahy, wasn't it, the fullback, I think, who took that one on. She picked up the loose ball and went in for the try. Just brilliant.
Superb individual effort, 45-metre sprint. And I think, unfortunately, at 32.5 with a kick to go, that's unfortunately sealed the Navy's fate here.
Yeah, Orla Proctor, in fact, was the scorer. With the try under the posts. And so the kick for goal will be taken by the fullback, by Daisy Fahy. Brilliant run. And it's disappointing to see the Navy captain, Rose Dixon, as well. A real warrior, isn't she, for the Navy?
Absolutely, and I know she's recently returned herself from injury, so let's hope that's not just tweaked it. But looks like she's going to play on.
Conversion goes over. 34 points to 5. And this is really a comprehensive victory now for the RAF. And another injury just being looked at for the Air Force. It looks like she's going to be okay. Just waiting for the referee to signal the game can go ahead again. Heading towards then the witching hour. And of course, Charlie, I'm going to be asking you to name a player of the match, if you possibly can. It's there's been a lot of star performances out on the pitch there, haven't there?
Yeah, I have. And yes, I will now spend the next 60 seconds thinking through a name for you.
Just have a think about that. We've probably got a bit longer, to be honest, with all the extra time that the referee's going to be giving me a right old look saying, oh, you threw that one at me. But no, I mean, there have been some outstanding performances today from, and certainly from light blue players as well. Great defensive work from some of the Navy, but some of the flair that have been shown by the RAF today has been truly outstanding. But the Navy not giving up just yet. Here's Jasmine Abel, brought to ground in the end, does well. Baker, great run from her. Swain still going. But a penalty to the RAF for holding on. More replacements. So flip-flop has gone off. And Evie Longworth coming on, wearing number 21, based at RAF Coningsby. The scrub half for weapons tech, based at 12 Squadron.
And I think she's coming on for her first cap as well.
And she works on explosives and ejector seats.
Wow. What a job. Let's hope she's as good at her job as she is at rugby then.
Well, we'll see some explosive work from her, perhaps, from Evie, going into the last moments of this match.
And again, congratulations on your first cap and welcome to Inter-Services Rugby, Evie.
Indeed. And here she goes. Like a knife through butter at the moment.
Absolutely, decent start.
It was. Of course, a lot of these girls with so much to prove, a lot of these young women, but here come the Navy, and their fullback going for it with Jasmine Abel. Is she going to get the try? Well, she's wriggled away, and the person who's made that tackle was Caris Williams-Morris.
Unfortunately, that was a high tackle from the behind, so interesting.
And a penalty.
Yeah. And actually, she was away for a try then, so this will be an interesting decision from the referee.
Is it going to be a card of some sort? We seem to have lost comms once again with the referee. He is consulting the...
Yeah, my understanding would be that might be a try, actually, penalty try, as
possibly
last line of defence.
Well, there's a long conversation going on. I was going to say that possibly Caris Williams-Morris might have been one of your nominees for player of the match, but she's being spoken to now by Matt Ray and...
Go on, Brickfields, let's hear you!
And also the captain coming in. I think you could well be right here, Charlie. We could have a penalty try for the Navy. It is a yellow card for Caris Williams-Morris, and she will play no further part in this game.
Anyone that just saw my reaction then was around the Navy getting their try, not around the yellow card. So I think that's an apt score for the Navy in terms of the work that they've done today and the effort that they've put in.
It was, and it was a fantastic run from Jasmine Abel there, the fullback.
It really was, and it unfortunately for her, because it would have been an amazing try had she not been brought down illegally. But you mentioned about player of the game.
Yes.
I have 3 names in my mind, but you might be right. That yellow card has just sort of taken one of them off. But Keris has had a fantastic game, and those tries that she scored in the first half. But there's another couple of people as well that I think have had a fantastic game. We mentioned Orla, an up-and-coming player, and her natural flair. And actually, Kat Robinson's been mentioned a couple of times during the game for her experience and work around the park. But with the yellow card in mind, I think I'm going to give it to Orla.
So Orla Proctor then, 19 years old, her first cap today, wearing number 13. She is the player of the match. I think that's a great selection, Charlie, because, you know, she's had a terrific game. And what a boost for her to be honoured as player of the match then for this first ever Inter-Services game. That's not a bad way to start your career, is it?
No, definitely not. But I think her try in was it hers in the first or second half? I can't remember now, but her fantastic try down here, she's worked really hard, worked across, around the field as well. She's had a couple of assists as well, and just, awesome game for her.
Well, of course, she's scored a second half try. In fact, hers was the last try that the Air Force scored. So you're quite right. So Orla Proctor is our player of the match, and Kath will be going to hopefully grab a chat with her and possibly her captain Lucy Nye as well, because I think we can safely say here that it's going to be a victory for the RF. But 34-12 does look a lot better, and it was a penalty try, and I suspect that Caris knew that was going to be the outcome.
Yeah, and I think she just mistimed her tackle, unfortunately. It's difficult to tackle, tracking down. She'd actually worked well to get back. But as we said, it would have been a fantastic individual try had that not happened. But definitely a much less flattering scoreline, but better reflection of the game itself.
So it's going to be a Navy put in then to this scrum. On that far side, it's Rhiannon Newton, the scrum half.
Strong push there from the RAF, actually putting the Navy under pressure on their ball, and Navy come away with it. What can they do with a few minutes to go?
Well, all they can do is keep trying, isn't it, really, and just doing the best they can. And at times today the Navy have produced some good stuff. It's just been maybe that final pass, isn't it, that's let them down so often in this game.
Unfortunately, yeah, and as I say, they're fighting right to the very end here, but I think we should take nothing away from the RAF. Really well drilled side by John Wilding. Some excellent work between forwards and backs. Navy have continued, though. Their defence has been strong today. It's final touch.
Rowan Sinclair maybe summing that up, but some great work then from Cheryl Goodwin from HMS Dauntless, who made some good ground for the Navy, but the knock-on conceded, and therefore it is a scrum to the Air Force.
Some tired bodies down there in this heat as well, I think.
They've given them, I mean, it's a bit chilly up here in the stand, actually. It was quite interesting because, there's like a sort of a line, isn't there, between the warmth and the cold. There are actually people in T-shirts and shorts stood about a couple of metres away from us, but here it's like the Arctic.
It absolutely is. I'm actually shivering and jumping up and down to keep my feet warm here, but it looks hot on the pitch.
It is. Here's Lucy Knight. That'll be really nicely collected by Filippo.
Excellent play by the RAF there under pressure.
Yep. Picked up by Daisy Fahy.
She's had a great game today as well, Fahy, from the back.
There have been some great performances.
Yeah.
But it's collected again by the number 8, by Kat Robinson. Driving inside the 22. Is there another try here for the Air Force? Nye with the ball out wide to the full-back. RAF still have it. Desperate defence from the Navy here. Desperate not to concede another try. But they're wide on the left and the right. Lots of options for Lucy Nye when she gets that ball.
Advantage being played as well.
A penalty, which they will take quickly. Lucy takes it quickly. No, too quickly, says the referee, and brings it back. Matt Ray brings it back. And another RAF player down on the pitch. As you say, this game taking its toll. So we're going to take another little break for the injury here. If you're Rose Dixon, the Royal Navy captain at the end of this game, what are you going to say to them? Because they've suffered another defeat here. They played well in parts, but they've been up against obviously a really strong RAF team today.
Yeah, they have, and I think if I was Rose, you've got to take the positives from the games. Their defensive line, they've worked all the 80 minutes. They've had glimpses of flair. It's that final pass, the final, a couple of times down here, just going to ground, knocking the ball on. And so it's the individual skills which actually the players can work on away from being in the squad and then come back together. So I think between now, from speaking to Jenkins earlier, they're actually, they've got tomorrow off to recover, and then they're doing active recovery this week in camp. So bringing the players back together, but individual skill level. I think focus on the fact they're building a squad and they've got new players coming in. There's, they've got the numbers. It's now continuing forward. But between now and Twickenham, I'm not sure what to say before they take the park against a strong Army side, especially after their result today. The Army from today's result, so it is definitely two teams going to Twickenham in very different spaces. However, I know that the two services, so the RAF and the Navy, always use that when they play the Army, and they find strength from dark places to play against the Army team. So, never say never.
I was just looking at Rose Dixon now. She's barking instructions to her team. Tactically, let's get this right at the end here. That's great captaincy.
Yeah, it is, and that sort of never say die ultimately. And as you said at the beginning, she's a player that will put her own body on the line, not just shout at others. And the team follow her leadership and her demonstrations. So, yeah.
So Daisy Fahy is going to go for goal here from this penalty, which could signal maybe it's the last kick of the game. But the 34-12, they're leading. Remember, that was a penalty try that was awarded to the Navy. But Daisy just setting herself up now. Can she get the extra 3 points to make it 37-12? Steps up, and the kick is well wide. So it remains 34-12 to the Air Force, and we play on. Still just a few moments left in this game. And it's just really sad as well to see the RAF. I'm just looking to see who it is down there who is still really struggling with that injury. She's trying to pull herself back into the game. It's the number 8, as we said, Kat Robinson, who I think she may well be forced to leave the field here. She's given, she was one of your candidates for player of the match, wasn't she?
Yeah, she's given everything during this game. She's been a strong ball carrier, and one of those key back row forwards that have actually won the ball and got it out for those RAF backs to score the glorious tries that they've come in with today.
Yeah, that number 8 position is so important, isn't it? For both sides. But it's a shame that she's really struggling now and is being helped from the field. Kat Robinson, 31 years old, and Henley Hawks player based at RAF Odium, but she's having to leave the field now and being helped, the referee just allowing her to go off. Looks like there isn't a replacement for her. Are they going to carry on with 14? Looks like it. I haven't seen a replacement coming on for her, but
I would be surprised actually if John's used all of his replacements, because I know they're playing with 21 players today.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, someone had to return to operational commitment as soon as yesterday.
Yeah.
So RAF there, as with all 3 services, the operational commitments are taking a toll on team sports, and that's as I say, even one of the players had to leave camp yesterday to unfortunately return for ops, as it always takes precedence over inter-service, even inter-service level sport.
So
just reference the earlier conversation and Rose Dixon bringing the team together. I think it's also critical to point out it's the head coach's first season, and she's definitely in a building phase. And I think it's always positive to look forward to the Navy. They've got the numbers there, and if they can take those numbers forward to next season, and I hate to say it because it does sound like I'm writing off the next game, but I think they need to look to next season and build that, build the squad. They constantly making improvements year on year, but it's having the continuity and having the players return and building on that for the next season. And I think Jenkins has got that this year. So I think I would focus in that space as well for the Navy team.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's such an important point. I mean, when you bear in mind they've only had one new cap this time as well, so they have got that continuity in terms of players, but it's really making sure those players now understand what the head coach wants.
Yeah, agreed. And she's been, it's the first season she's been allowed to bring more than 24 into camp. So there's 4 players in the Navy camp that haven't got a shirt, or potentially 5 that haven't got a shirt for today's game. But it's again, it's growing that understanding of inter-service rugby, because it is so unique and it is so different to any other rugby. So giving them the experience of being in camp, so they might not get on the pitch, but next year they've been here, they know what's expected. And I think that's the key to growing that squad.
Dixon again setting her players through, and once again it's the fullback Jasmine Abel. That's a great run for her, but a terrific tackle from her oppo, Daisy Fahy. Picked up though by Ellis Thorpe.
Come on, Brickfields, get behind your team. Let's go.
Again, they've got the advantage as well, and broken play here. If they can get the ball...
And they've got the penalty.
Yeah, if they could have just got the ball wide there, they had a 3-on-1, which would have been exciting to watch.
LMA Rhiann Delmore.
So Rhiann Dilmore coming on. In fact, she has been on the field for a while, to be fair. Now, can the Navy pull a third try out of this game? Which would be a terrific effort from them. Great run through, lovely play from Olivia Fifter. The kick goes up, it's going to be an RAF player on there first. It's their fullback who's there, Daisy Fahy's there first.
That was a fantastic pick-up, actually. I don't know whether you noticed it, but the scrum half pass was slightly in front of the player, but she did a fantastic job picking it up and passing the ball on. And I just have to do a shout out there to the front row player kicking the ball through. It's not something you see every day.
No, it isn't. It's very unusual, but I think they were hoping maybe a dark blue shirt was going to get there before a light blue one.
Yeah.
Sadly for them, it was a light blue shirt that got there first. Here's Rose Dixon, leading from the front once more.
Again, it speaks to the Navy culture, though, that, you know, this is what, we're 54 minutes, 55 into the second half, and they are in the RAF 22.
They are, so and they're not giving up.
Absolutely, there's definitely no loss in spirit here.
Ball into touch. It was a foot in touch there, I think, from Cheryl Goodwin. And that is no side. That is the end of the game. And, well, it's been a terrific performance from the Royal Air Force here. They've done so well to win by 34 points to 12 against a really plucky Royal Navy team. You know exactly what you're going to get from the Navy. You're going to get a team who never gives up. But the RAF just had that little bit extra today, and well deserved the victory, Charlie. I think if you know, when they go back and they'll examine this, they'll be pretty pleased with that performance.
Yeah, I think both sides can walk away with their heads held high, as we've said sort of throughout the game. The RAF were deserved winners, it has to be said. They have had a stronger performance on the day, and their individual skill has really run away with the scoreline. But some fantastic tries in glorious weather down at Brookfields. But the Navy should hold their heads up high. They fought all the way through, and especially at the end, I actually genuinely thought they were going to be coming through for a try in the last minute. Excellent work and great leadership from Rose Dixon as ever.
Well, they're going to try and get hold of Orla Proctor, player of the match, and possibly her captain as well, Lucy Nye, for a chat before the presentations happen. But a lot of tired bodies out there. There's not a lot left on this pitch really at the end of this game.
No, but what remarkable weather they've had, and I'm really pleased that that's actually how it's turned out, because it's been a great demonstration from both teams of what our rugby athletes can now do, and it's a much better demonstration in glorious weather with a fast ball from both sides and some fantastic play.
Just seeing some of the celebrations from the RAF players makes you realise how much winning this has meant to them. It really does.
Men and the senior women, with the RAF playing the Army at Kingsholm Stadium in Gloucester on Saturday, May the 11th. Tickets still available.
Yeah, and I think it's exciting, having watched today's game, to look forward to the next 2 games. The Twickenham fixture is always a fantastic fixture, both the venue, the teams, etc. But as I said earlier, the championship being played for on the 11th of May at Gloucester is something that in the women's game we've been asking for a while, that we're actually playing for the championship, and this year it's fantastic that the ladies actually get a chance to do that.
Which of course that's what's going to happen. So I mean the focus will be on Twickenham, but as you say, it will be very much on Kingsholm as well. For the fixture, the women's fixture of course will be first, won't it, that day as well. Again, not a brilliant time for a kick-off, 11 o'clock in the morning, but the players sort of are used to that, aren't they, I think, in their club games now.
I mentioned it earlier, today's worked really well, and Twickenham I feel is similar in that the difference in time between the men's and the women's games finishing and starting is a lot closer, and it's...
OK, thanks, Charlie. We're going to now go down to pitch side and talk now to Orla Proctor, player of the match, and captain Lucy Nye. They are with Kath Brazier.
Well, congratulations to the RAF, and we've got team captain here, Lucy Nye, and player of the match, Orla Proctor. Well done, girls. I'll speak to you individually. Lucy, as a captain, first of all, a convincing win, but you know they brought it out for you, and a little bit of ill-discipline as well might have given them some extra points.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, well, for a 4 o'clock kickoff, it's actually been very, very warm. But no, like we said, the Navy are getting better and better every year. And like when we came out here, we knew it would be a challenge. And I think, like physicality-wise, I think like the forwards like fronted up to each other. But like as you say, with obviously our man on the match here, like our backs have been absolutely class. So like the forwards gave us that platform to let us be able to work out wide. But yeah, like really, really tough, like physical battle.
And Orla, congratulations on your player of the match. I think barnstorming runs was one of the words used for you, and obviously getting on the score sheet. So you must be pleased with that.
Yeah, definitely very pleased. But as Luce said, like it's a team effort. So like the ball getting brought in by the forwards and then coming through 10, 12, getting to 13, it's just class. With our wingers holding out wide, that's what we went for, and that's what we got in the outcome. Yeah.
I know weather probably shouldn't have a difference, but it's such a vast difference from last year. It must be so much nicer to be able to play that free-flowing rugby that you could do this year.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, yeah, last year was complete, well, mud bath, wasn't it? And I think that suits the Navy a lot more. So when obviously the forecast and the pitch was a lot drier, I think we knew that we needed to execute. The kind of pressure was on us to show what we had and the skills that we have as a team. But like I said, I think like as a team, we definitely executed that.
Okay, Orla, just finally, looking ahead to, well, you want to go and celebrate the team, obviously, but looking ahead to a match against in Gloucester, and that would be hopefully maybe the title decider.
Definitely. I think that you've seen today how hard that we've been working, like out with like RAF rugby camp, going to training when it's wet and cold, coming here in the sunshine, getting to play and getting the win. That's what we're going to do at the Army as well. Yeah.
Okay, we'll go and celebrate with your teammates. Thank you very much to the RAF, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you very much.
Well, Orla and Lucy there, absolutely delighted, of course, with that win, with Orla, the player of the match, and her debut for the RAF today. What a fantastic day for her, and the player of the match selected here by Charlie Maxwell, and I think a really good choice there. There was some really good choice of players who could have won that. Very shortly, we're just going to have the presentation at the end of the game, with the trophy, obviously, for the winning team going to be presented. So both teams just preparing. Fleet Commander Admiral Andrew Burns will be there, along with Air Marshal Halfsmith as well today, and I'm sure he'll be a very happy man, won't he, that his RAF women's team have been successful. And also Gary McKay, MD of the match sponsors here today, Roden Swartz UK. So just waiting then for the last moments of the day here. Most people drifting away now from Brickfields. And they've been thoroughly entertained here with 2 terrific games. Anyone who stayed behind for both matches will have been thoroughly entertained here with 2 great games of rugby, and that's really set us up. Okay, so presentation then about to start then for the match officials are going to now be awarded their medals for their excellent performances today. Matt Ray, who has been in charge obviously of the game, the man in the middle with his 2 assistants on the field, Rob Hitch and Jay Chisenga, and the 4th and 5th officials are Stuart Kiddle and Asif Mahmood. So they are the ones, they're all going to be awarded a medal for their contributions. And players now just gathering on that far side to receive their awards, and we will just stay for that presentation. It's always great to see, Charlie, the cheers go up for the winning team. That's a great moment, isn't it, when you win a trophy?
Yeah, it is. It's always a proud moment, however many times you have represented. And as I said earlier, there's nothing like representing your service. And each of those players in light blue can absolutely be proud of their win today. It was a good effort from them, and well deserved.
And I think the Navy can be proud of their efforts today as well. All they want to do is just get off the pitch really now, and just maybe reflect on what they have achieved today. But you know, there's always lessons to be learned. In fact, I think someone had said to me the other day, you learn a lot more in a team game from what you lose than from what you win.
Yeah, quite often that's the case. And I know I was speaking to Jenkins earlier. They had a hard game against the French Navy and took a lot of lessons from that. And as you say, there's more that they can learn from today, and growing forward for that squad, building on this season with her in now the head coach position.
Present the coins to the losing team, the Royal Navy.
So the Royal Navy then come up from Admiral Burns to receive their losers' medals, runners-up medals we'll call them. I think
that's a fairer word to use in this scenario.
Because you know, they've given so much, but there have to be winners and there have to be losers. Unfortunately, that's what team sport is all about. And you know, I think you know, just seeing that there's a lot of dejected faces amongst the Royal Navy women, but they can be really proud of the efforts they put in today. And you know, they got 2 tries in there, one of which of course was a penalty try, but they threatened, and actually if you look at the end of the game, that actually was probably when they were their most threatening.
Yeah, I think as always towards the end of the game, the bench, you've used the bench up. However, as I say, I thought they were going to get a 3rd try at the end of the game. They absolutely fought, and they fought really hard, and actually the game, had the RAF backline not got their individual tries, actually there was a lot of so both forward packs were actually quite equal in this game, and that's interesting. Well fought by both sides, but
presenting to the RAF.
So happy moments then for the players in their light blue and white today. The RAF now receiving their winners' coins from Air Marshal Halfsmith. And delighted to win. So Charlie, obviously we'll leave things when the trophy lift happens, but it's been an absolute joy to have you alongside today for this game, and thank you so much for taking the time to come and talk to us with your knowledge of the game. And I mean, I know that some of these players might be, you know, new, certainly new to me. A lot of them are first caps, of course. A lot of them are newcomers, but the game doesn't change, does it? Really, it's you know, you know, you look at it and it's all about commitment, dedication, flair, and we've seen plenty of that today.
Yeah, absolutely. Both teams can be proud of their performances. The players have absolutely left put their heart on their sleeve, and as you'd expect from any member of the service representing. But it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me. I hope for those of you at home you've enjoyed it, especially for those of you watching from mid-Atlantic and or Australia. But no, thank you. It's been a pleasure, and thank you very much, John.
Oh no, you're more than welcome. I'm hoping that we're going to be seeing you at Twickenham as well at some stage.
I might make an appearance.
You can make an appearance there. We'd love to see you there. But The trophy now going on then, the lift happening, victorious RAF team. And that's it from us here, and hope that you've enjoyed our coverage here throughout the day from Brickfields. But from me, John Knight, and Kath Brazier, who's obviously been our presenter and a reporter today and looking after social media, and the entire team who've been involved in our production, let's say a very good afternoon to you. Thanks very much for joining us. And don't forget, more live sport coming your way on our Forces News YouTube channel. We will be at Twickenham on the 4th of May for the Army-Navy clashes. That's our next rugby, but we've got loads of sport coming up. But from all of us here, it's a very good afternoon.
Catch every kick.
That is an almighty hit.
Every big tackle.
They go again and they're over.
Every scoring try.
Courtney Burslop, she cannot stop scoring.
Every unforgettable moment.
The trophy in Navy possession.
The 2024 Inter-Services Rugby Championship.
Everything in the Inter-Services garden is blooming red.
Live on Forces News, YouTube and BFBS.